paper.
Probably don't need any of those. No. Probably.
Oh, I can get the whole round.
You never know with me.
Sick.
Like a loose cannon.
I don't have to.
The timer that's in my hand was set for 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Why?
So she can remember the plan. So like when this starts beeping, this is not the end of the speech.
All right, redhead.
So we do.
It's
All part of the landing transformation.
Yeah.
gonna be super. Super.
Yeah, long plan there. Very long plan.
I mean, I have a timer, so that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, we also do not link to all of your following generic arguments.
Now you're good.
And it's gonna be this coach advantage for me. For your life.
Oh, this is cooking.
And crap.
Crap.
Let's just kick it down.
I got it.
Turn that thing over.
That's the last time that's pretty cool. It's working better.
What? It was those cables. They reflect points, so it wouldn't recognize any laser from the mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like fine here.
I'm not gonna even try to do this.
The only problem here is that the tables are all splinter hazards if you use a mouse.
Nothing's happening tonight.
Get an outlet.
Like 2 hours and 53 minutes.
Right there.
Look at me hoping we don't get embarrassed.
Oh. Okay. Next person you guys on this more than mine, but
That makes sense.
We were getting embarrassed.
All right.
Okay. Everyone good? Advantage one is malicious, no centralization or integration, not malicious, let's see the National Army's credible ICG. And 1214, there's a little dispute on the need to unite security forces, separate the Western authority, and single credible national authority of the U.S. surplus of weapons, defense, and the has respected authority feeling. The new army lacks legitimacy, the fragmentation reflects the justice laws, uncertainty, the legitimacy, the militia leaders need to suggest that only one handle weapons, legitimate central authorities coming to the end of the described in the national army leadership, part of the problem with militias unable to act. One of growing number of serious militias are likely to become increasingly responsible and turning to some militias first military credibility. U.S. technical assistance will be endeavored for development of living national armies key to incorporate periphery militias in the guarantee and civilian path and army provide the national militias undermining the internal government on willingness to start militias and relief fighters to return to civilian life. The NDT's weakness is committed by national institutions that the challenge the NDT will remain the political place of Libya and the NDT must focus on institution building and integrating program. The militias are estimated more than the national AMC that's supposed to qualify to the NDT is one place on technical capacity and the offering needs the expert that shows the initiative for centralization and institutionality meeting. The militias are prepared for Libya action address instead of crowd within mails as Libya can achieve security needed to jump up to hold the election. Second is political will assistance generate the will to hack malicious path. And three, without action provide confidence the key to the NDC corruption militia Libya NDC is going to respond to challenges the leadership act and feel back the key problem is the heads of the NDC elected to exercise its authority and problem with the NDC is a demonstration of lack of institution capability of influence such constitution control. So fourth coordination media action that's more than intentional. Third is expertise self-segmentation and use element in entities. Ability to exercise limited professional accountability and arguably check that distributed to great public support effective security institution prioritize. The ability to potential require common commentary to the restricted test of the existence towards command. Security from the permanent outcome which we are with the name civilian power of the U.S. and project to the development responsibility and security initiative. Fourth is restructuring self-militia to supplement NTC credibility ICG. And 1214 the NTC has struggled with internal division credibility and effective security and fragmentation reflect the incident regarding U.S. legitimacy and leaving the isolated without question of credibility and success and the remains highly until the credible institution of religion like the business especially the NTC should be working to mobilize the mission to require restructuring the military and national community must be offered the superior universal health and democracy education component is critical. The pluralist stability and legitimacy are key wire in. And 224 the weakness rules of lack of crucial institutions stability national army so arbitrary of the words internal Washington is with window of opportunity shape living civil military relation for the democracy roles and need to educate Libya offers to civil military relation to rule law the system and issue usually was in training. The crucial winning that battle of militias field reaching arms explosion 1 and 10 and does not focus on addressing U.S. insecurity for Africa only. Democratic military training solves Taylor. 11, let me raise a question about the Africa. The Africa is public fair posture made out of both Africa face the heart's mind perception of the great challenge now. It's also from the time to help government build confident professional military protect human rights, fully authority the challenge. Is then some of the African countries health training have to go directly to the hard rights of Africans key to training partnership with the current medical minerals and African bridges. And 10, U.S. defense are the most immediate United States effective for the African region. So stop by using policy military parts African the partners of the would be substantial to develop military relations Africa must be needed. In terms of state U.S. access to strategic minerals is key to right track the boxing out U.S. and cutting off railroad supply of goods. 11, Africa will continue to planet to understand whole elements use high defense Africa, the highest concentration railroad funding of the United States railroad is high. Weapon international security and railroad metals will keep come on cruise with predator drones husband. And 3, 7 earth will have military application and critical role in the guidance of the full system of advanced operation radio rotations weapons. Then getting railroad control on cruise with South RE or key to mission guidance steps intending to more president turn after the RE production of high technology our vehicle navigation submarine action with suspensions and other asia and armor conflict in new regions of South Africa appears to bring potential to complex key to deterrence nuclear escalating age escalation of reynolds 98 equal conflict with these ground events well to terrorists who don't need person to protect the roads and weapons from freedom of weapons could be the options to sharp defensive weapons or use the tool project for detecting an escalation on and weapon might be used effectively to consider the all responsible should keep cooperating with the security that keeps make to combat the weapon investors they to turn pressure reynolds 98 top 100 and someone else in the region as the strategic weapons to reduce strategic weapons become more important elimination of top level changes the Russian is by limiting the unfortunate capital weapon producing capability turns is key to fight U.S. China Russian include common cold and not Russian so the United States principal adversary or adversary Russian leaders capital and civil geopolitical thinking Russian pressure and protecting the strategic posture by understanding Russian economic use to bring development plan was on the Russian extinction and Boston true the arbitrator extinction to the build of renewable energy U.S. and U.S. are the only possible nuclear together with 9 other species of Russian U.S. retain largely the course of the future confrontation yet seeking to start making progress by the Abu Dhabi and through to the actions of the Lunacy that 17 year rebelling and the remains dependent on militia 2012 as seeking to certify the clash of Europe prolonged civil wars over to clock state to stabilize the living need the natural result of the NDC's only set power in mid-2012 the NDC agency to unity as laid down the vital building block of the security long-term advantage what?
This is all in the NTC.
That's on the NTC advantage, sorry, plan. The United States Africa Command should substantially increase its democratic civil military aid for Libya. 8 down. 8 allocations for Libya now passed the market installed the USA independent from the USA the act that's fully established. The British Libyan 5 million funding for help civil society most active from American government to date has been a response of 50 million from appropriated in Libyan Congress in aid must be appropriated for Libyan installation but with no congressional vote of comment and 260 the past all inclusive foreign operations in Libya 20 million will be available for democracy and stimulation since or each of $240 million $60 million made available for efforts to Tunisia and then these 20 million plus are made available for democracy and Syrian assistance law assistance down Libya on Niger and to make the administration relies on 1/5 of the assistance they offer being spent use of 40 million who offer 25 million material support. U.S. civil society is being provided an implementing program to provide civil society training resources U.S. communities provide medical and humanitarian assistance. Done.
Okay. You're internally to deterring Russia. What do you deter them from doing?
Attacking the United States or engaging in hostile conflicts.
Why do they have an incentive to attack the United States?
Our evidence indicates that Russia is more likely to initiate aggressive action if we don't have like low-yield nuclear weapons to use because they don't think we're going to use our high-yield nuclear weapons. So it's not like Russia will actively start a conflict, but rather that miscalculation could occur based on strategic deterrence.
If the scenario is miscalculation, how does deterrence and miscalculation are incommensurable concepts with one another?
I disagree. Deterrence can prevent miscalculation by preventing Russia from determining that the costs are low enough.
When would a war with the U.S. ever have a significant benefit? I don't understand how that's logical. Like, what's the cost-benefit calculation Russia goes through in their mind?
I mean, we're obviously not. We didn't take a stance for every scenario where Russia and the United States were to get into conflict.
No, I know. It seems unnecessary.
Our evidence indicates that in crisis situations, because if the United States does not have low-yield nuclear weapons, Russia will think that they can do things without cost because they don't think we'll use our high-yield weapons.
It seems like there's a cost in any possible conflict. So militias now, what incentive do militias have to integrate into a national army?
Well, our evidence indicates that, well, what piece of evidence is it called? You know this better than I do.
Pack and Barfi.
Yeah, the Pack and Barfi evidence is talking about, they have an incentive to integrate because they realize that the situation is never going to maintain stability unless they integrate into the national army.
So then why is the U.S. key?
Our evidence indicates that the United States is necessary to form cohesion between the two groups.
But like, walk me through the mechanics of this. So like, you have a bunch of militias running around, okay? They all want to integrate. What does the U.S. actually do that gets them to integrate?
Well, it's not. Sorry.
The reason they aren't integrating is because they don't perceive the National Army as an inclusive institution that like respects civilian authority. The plan trains the NTC's National Army to be more respectful of human rights, civilian authority,
If the
which makes it look more
so
legitimate.
the NTC and the SCO does not respect human rights and does not uphold principles of CMR. Is that a fair characterization?
It doesn't have the
It's
perception.
perception of that.
Okay,
is
this is actually an important question. Which card says that the U.S. will change the way that militias perceive the NTCs?
Well, that's, I mean, all of the solvency for the first advantage indicates it the way.
Like which card?
Will you hand me
Way
the?
224. It's right before the Sinai impact.
It all says that the way that the United States can do that is by helping the capacity of the institution to function.
I'm
The Wayre evidence.
Washington has a window of opportunity to shape Libya's civil
It's the ones
military
that are
relations and promote democracy. The focus needs to be
Right,
on
I've read
educating Libyan officers in areas like
Civil
civil
military
military
Right,
relations.
no, but you
Law.
made it. This is very important because you made a distinction about how the NTC does not actually not respect CMR, that they just don't. They are perceived as respecting CMR. So which card says the U.S. changes the way that the militias perceive them?
Well,
it seems to be a
Our
critical
evidence, no,
component to your data.
all of the internal link evidence for this advantage indicates.
Where?
This is a piece of Wayre. We had
Which
four
line?
different things. First, okay,
All right.
so you handed me one
Thanks,
solvency
thanks.
card.
That's the card. Oh yeah, where's the plan?
It's on that piece of green paper.
Right here.
Sorry, impact to outcome, just make sure because the paper's messy.
Nuclear tomahawks.
That's the light.
Is it Russian impact?
Where hurts Russia? There's a general deterrence card too.
Okay.
Did not know.
Okay, we're good. 224. No, that doesn't make sense.
9:45 left.
I started.
Leah, is this penguin yours? Is this what the one I see is on? You don't want that. Swap?
No, I did not predict.
I actually the ones.
Can we get back? Final NDT Semis?
Yes.
Penguin. Okay.
Oh no. I was gonna say, I was like, I think all of us get it, given that everyone's cheers from Houston. The table, the legs.
We covered this. So in the meantime, it's one off the first advantage, the second advantage.
Only
What's it? One C. What I said.
I mean, yeah, I like it. It was earlier today.
Okay. Going to G?
Yep.
The critique! The plan's attempted liberal state building provision of U.S. aid and expertise is based on a flawed method of exporting top-down model of liberal state that side with the local means, cause policy failure, structural violence, new middle left, democratic people, intern poverty, support, social security, species, institutions, security, the seat that you can be found in threshold, high definition, security, Europe, facility, national security, personal, peace, building, synchronized, global, top, personal, consistent, people, police, short, premises, specific, human, title, human, insecurity, direct, country, peace, building, since these are field conflict, key problem, police, motivation, control, interventions, the years, conflict point, project, security, development, as agenda, macro, skills, to make other problems, to make local folks, related to the local object, based on some local states of greatest prosperous stable order view, complex, and fraud, resources, needing capacity to generate critical challenges, conflict, source of conflict, because this is stability, building ties, and which is top of engaged, rather conflict, solution, consultatory, cosmopolitan society, and alternative version of peace and Russian peace and institutional, local peace, peace, building, technical expertise, and political model, peace, public versus the ground, peace, public, peace, peace, crowd, occupied, security, divergent, conflict, peace, political society, as the local witness done this, opportunity, shop, the civil society, power, corporation, the gates, fresh, the service, workers, bottom, performance, peace, because this is one like a kind of all cops, and second, short, political, institutional, describes local experience, local problems, assumptions, ability to cover hurting policy, ancient, political views, certain institutions, democracy, rights, are achieved regards to living the as an attempt to impose hegemony in the region, which causes backlash and violence and makes the influence and collapse inevitable. Thank God, beloved, despite the extreme of Africa's political family, settler, social discourse, and black Western victories, necessary great Africa's prayer. Security, classical computer, where the president is on a justifying person to be the global picture of Louis, we can also say the future actually important, other courts, having U.S. and French colors, still taking the conflict between the society is question what is in the country, highly proper, cannot feel to federal office, because strategy, U.S. freedom, peace, quality, political force, what do you think the country's going to know, knowledge, force, representation, so perfect, ethical, across the cultural, school, and so the culture of line, neo-liberalism, left, west, bankruptcy, and international liberal state building requires endless war, evidence of left liberalism associated with peaceful workers, of monopoly, people, liberals, make the structure of peace, as the market for political and universal support, pursuit of professional peace, and national punishment, including the other countries, civil war, transportation, society, local status, local regime, power, wage, justice, peace, political strategy, local force, political political today, which justifies action, militia production, makes it including war, must be proper production, from the species, local wars, operate global match rate, the churches, for local liberal governments, planetary danger, the disc, from a micro extension is not, the planetary principles, local efficient, just like Islamic publishment, the pale, the four permanent, the speak of the great material, personal power, local security, universal leadership, prep, for this universal pursuit of peace, universal for political power, local, become shaped by war, happening, principles, local peace, and that coming between the surface, very peace, and proclaims, refusing the 1AC's calls for state building, question the nation shouldn't focus on centralized models of peace building, their demand on a more concrete alternative reflects the Western methodological bias that reproduces failed state building models, rejecting liberal state building breed, and brings a slew of peaceful local alternatives into view, Richmond and Temple, which alternative from corresponds to local peace, desire for them to the something constituents, both people who do international actors who maintain the dominant of the state, with knowledge is change something record local peace model, understand how they can be solar for which will locally about more permitting local state for his wise culture, post markets across imagination, exclusion of schools and essential certificates, any kind of peace, local peace, preservation, or growth and methodological measures, security, issues, vice versa, always political systems, the fact that local models will be pressure, the same critics are driving towards implementing the debate for peace, political, economic, research, established program, the purpose of the ideal source of Western, and there's a full mission for drag, explore local project based unit, make peace source, spread topic, local subject, post complex settings, rather will found, transform it, peace, and what is the alternative, will try to alternatives, recommend that to competing with local capacity to diversity for public support rules and local peace by market west Columbia, there's a focus on post-war practice, local agencies, so forward plausible research activities develop and protect local entities peace with a high-tech peace, probably ideological to mitigate the methodological bias, research, artists, current without the gender creating the complex and democratic laws are dominated by closely accepted the peace local institutions, democracy, and critical local agency has challenged the centralized states with notions of power. The state building project is based on consolidating the international order of local governance, sanitizes global destruction, risks extinction, by failing to question the prevailing liberal models. Their impacts are all the scarce of constructions used to justify ending liberal hegemony, extending liberal hegemony. It's tried out. I'm at 12. Turn 12. Actors construct discourses, scarcity, response, ecological, energy, economic crisis, the context of political revolution by domination, implicating fair critics, different political, orthodox, higher approaches are not developing first relation to bias, values, environment, neglect, blessing, and secret, seek security, because the cause of higher stock question, transform the state, global construct the state behavior, action that are rationalizing very conditions for human existence, realism, liberalism, are implicating the acceleration of global systematic circles, the incapacity to discriminately interrogate political proliferation, symptom-led solutions rapidly attempt to transform the root cause of states into the military response to actually diagnose the party systematic tendency, criticize, securitize, the vital complex securitization refers, view any speech, acting, expressive, examines of global surface legal organized the constitutional relations, others produces their sentence, IRS responded with the application existing there to new challenges such as inequality, environmental degradation, trafficking, proliferation, terrorism, all its influence of military, political power, and ecological energy guys are prices recognized as many necessary states at the level of rationalized violence generates excessive for application without the cause of third level effect, securitization, global price government, safer by necessarily more violence by hitting preventive action, guarantee declared security, securitization, blood crisis, problematization for killer active groups, air loss, degeneracy, security, by militarization for groups, constructive sexual, fairly ordered reductionism, places or orthodox identity, stages, no points to data about terrorism, people about it, and placing Middle East oil, making American Virginia dominated regional critical patterns and hundred constructive and hegemonic discourse retarded, like exclusionary discourses, legitimating their annihilation, local project corruption, ideological production, military dynamic and reserve, geological intent becoming certain response to mass violence, culminating natural genocide becomes legitimized by contributing to the resolution crisis recommendations to shift our frame away from state centrism towards a human security approach cannot be achieved by confronting deeper theoretical assumptions online conventional corporate non-security issues by including the structural origin of ecological energy and economic crisis, orthodox approach are incapable of transforming them. Mark at transforming them. Position yourself as a critical. Nope.
Finish the Ahmed card and then
Finishing the Ahmed card.
skip Belgium and then go to the case.
Okay. This is finishing previous card. Terrorism, violent conflict, population movements, and a field project risk into groups of the intersect most countries feature more focus on insecurity, intensifying industrial liberation of Western security supports is the multiple failure to interpret this and causes failures in the facial cultures of the commitment of civil and moral prevalence of Western security because the industry security for the as a couple of Jews are sitting cover fire, attention restriction, resource exploitation, and subject visual abilities of education, high intensity problem systems, the external sexually legitimization of vital source of this. So just a policy from sculpting advocate for policy project that translate social science simplification terms about business system lacking past purpose, logical self-reflection, and refined more or less past true as international security price web box with the guarantee global energy collapse such as fundamental research is really required to develop frameworks would be more sober effective at policy making. Not the case. Status quo assaults militias, they will cause instability, and then they want to disarm purpose and love and love and trust militias, and then have a weapon practice, structural place and possible revolution, mutually enough, package, weapon population, high multiple options, and then transitive the announced the revolutionary agency with that for militias. Let me transition with the chemical missile as the potential becomes sex story. Nobody even knows who militias are, makes solvency impossible. Omar and 12 the question, please, are an discourse command, return to fair enough, militias, that was a Jew, fact, watch the little bit, Craig. The actual conference will be understanding that the opposition will faction, and will be this diagram, which will make their actually multiple regeneration, reconstruction, celebration, all get of depth, and nuance of conflict, come up for seals. No, militias impact their soul, hyper, and 12 wrong people should not recover to this, and agenda flies the basic government's office, will be used as militias, necessary to alternate their forces, dissuading them for the levels of total. International will disconnect with reported missiles, disabling effective posture, start the loses, and to take care in case all chaos and certainly non-neutral. In fact, the card is written without qualifications from whitenetnews.com. It is an IDF officer. Wonder if he's biased. No chance that he's of Egypt, Israel, war, Zinger. 22 unlikely higher sheets in Egypt, who precaution rational committed treating law providing quiet on the border. Egypt's military council is potential because of the obligation of Egypt's interest. Egypt never having told war, Egypt won wars, but walk from this legend. And Israel seems level headed, zero chances. Egypt or Israeli war. Can we skip that? Hezbollah won't be aggressive. AFP 727, the whole thing is here based on Hezbollah's tech talk about the group to get off from measured after Hezbollah's person recommend Margaret because the access to global weapons and there's chaos going to be continuation of the current regime. All these stars don't hold for Hezbollah party emissions and their doctrinal going to be supported about the British revolutions, but not Syria, Africa. Putting a civilian mask on the military fields and cause a bulldog now and set Africa to clear receipt throughout the states of the US president here's putting a civilian mask with the disengaged strategy not hoping the mask is split that's a whole by telling us they decided to humanitarian also wants to use foreign policy but shade your military without your assistance causes democratic backsliding on some level is also important to recognize the ability of the US system to account governance country to lead the security complex having to work to offer the government using military ability strategy not effective with the military yesterday can't be counterproductive during resistance among broader government goals the DoD will contract PNCs to deploy and aid Africa selected outside capabilities private security companies and shoot combat provision that army and ability Iraqi citizens to be corporate 1.1 billion to training police force this and street police performing force security tax when considers the sole governance cause of regional stability structural violence we pay in the letter in 8 back several SMP and as people turn market for circle track bases when the country could issue hair piece of information to draw US to war people like to see formations industry investment conflict Africa alternate sources of rare earth lead the region pays out about 97% of the shortest little than China only costs for 30% world earth rare earth versus the market responding pretty much whatever was sent to China was widely supported by research consulting production of the global war prices market prices no war with Russia reasons working in this intent. U.S.-Russia reset the solidity of reset solidify cooperation, start along stable relations, pressing cooperation towards Iran, the creation consultative for method of removing the solidity relations. U.S. troops headed to Afghanistan, even a rapid U.S. with Russia war would end peace negotiations. Ivan Haman 7 conflict deterring just all confrontational extended to Russia. Two events make all Moscow to the ultimate second starting on the warning for the criminals that Russia will trigger nuclear retaliation move. It would stop the war negotiations and put negotiations into motion. I have 4 seconds.
Okay, Africa exists now. What's the uniqueness argument to all these terms?
It's not about a linear argument about X causes Y. It's a question of what the ballot is and what the judges are voting for. Either they're judging.
No, like the case turns.
The case turns?
Obviously, the case card turns work in conjunction with our broader framework argument.
Okay, what does that mean? Like, that didn't mean anything.
They all generate uniqueness to solve the case turns.
So does the alternative get rid of AFRICOM?
No, the alternative is not taking course of action. I mean, our response to the act is to change the way that the judges evaluate what they're voting for when they're voting for the 1AC. We think the vast majority of U.S. policy towards the Middle East is tainted by epistemic presuppositions.
Okay, well let's talk about some of the specific links that you read. This Fango piece of evidence that talks about, it's like your particularized Libya link. It talks about how when the U.S. and NATO did their initial invasion, that was the introduction of hegemony into the region. The thesis of the AFRICOM advantage is that initial invasion was bad because we didn't do anything.
Your response to that initial invasion is to prop up the very militarized regime that excluded Libya from the democratic process.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that your response to saying, oh, AFRICOM was liberalized is to propagate AFRICOM on the continent. Our Finko evidence says that the negotiations that the United States have with Libya...
But they're already on the continent.
Okay, I understand the uniqueness argument, but the ballot...
So AFRICOM is bad.
Yes.
Sure.
So the alternative would not accept AFRICOM.
That presumes that the judges voting for a policy.
Would the judges and critical intellectual align themselves with AFRICOM?
No.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Okay, what does it mean to be a critical intellectual then?
Well, it means that the judge presumes, takes the role of an academic who is historicizing and rendering contingent the claims that were made in the 1AC by examining why it is that we know that. So, for instance, our authors use things like ethnography, social scientific methods, history to demonstrate that the vast majority of claims that the U.S. makes about the Middle East and its attempts
let me ask another question. Why is liberalism bad? Is any attempt at liberal Democracy
Well,
bad?
all of our evidence speaks to the notion of liberalism as a project and trying to incorporate people within a liberal order. So, you know, the abstract idea of liberalism, I don't know, but it's a question of what what intellectuals in the United States does in order to propagate an ideology and include people within that.
Our Newman evidence actually makes a pretty good argument, which is that the type of liberalism the U.S. promotes is actually completely not in line with Enlightenment principles, which presume that rational autonomous individuals can control
And
their
why
own
is
path.
the plan, I get that you made the argument that the way that the US does that, but why is that the plan?
It's bad.
Our Newman card is specific to CMR proposals. Our evidence says that CMR, based on instability, shifts the focus of governments to interstate security, so they put their resources into doing things
As
like
opposed
consolidating
to
militias.
structural violence and
This
actual
evidence
human
talk
beings
about
within those
CMR.
The very last line is like civil military programs.
I'm looking at the very last line and I don't
And
believe you.
I'll pull it up. I remember convinced it.
Certain institutionally, universal
police
survival,
agencies, it's talking about
police
training.
agencies and stuff. It's not
Police and military training.
We got police and military training. Literally the third to last paragraph.
Red, 45, negotiated 10-year deal.
Did you see the,
Red, and then
the
go
cage?
Yeah, Hamilton's gonna blow it away.
What's those range?
Greg Hamilton set the record for the rest.
So it's what, 6 years? 20?
Alright, I'm done. I just need the flash.
2.4. The only way him to be got a higher AAV is
Stop.
Gordon, did you stop, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
928. He kept it around until
that's who just
10, right?
well, but he could still make. Well, Kevin's was like 10 and 2 was
Something crazy. So that was the largest like the deal. But the other one was the one that ran. Unless you think it's wow.
got it. Well, but he's one for anybody pays for it. Ooh, but he's still awesome.
That was off the drink.
Well, I can't deal with both options. We've got 141.
What's it called?
2AC semis. Beach 2AC semis.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I got it. Harrison, yeah.
Yes.
Alright, so does everybody have it? Okay. AFRICOM militias. Okay.
Based on the page?
What's up?
African militias.
AFRICOM militias. Okay. Is that right? It's tried after the efforts to drop it back into the ones he dropped, you haven't syndicate that Tomahawk Christmas are independently deterrence, which means even when he link the Christmas, there's no scenario for nuclear escalation, which means the African controls the only existential impact is independent from the deterrence argument because we can use the Tomahawk Christmas missile in other regions, including East Asia, etc., which means that we control the only scenario for nuclear escalation. The arguments about there's backlash in Africa, talking about this as with the claim is he didn't reframing Africa, which is supposed to have cooperation on other issues, because although we are cooperating over military assistance, the South West does not have democratic focus, which means that people don't trust that specifically during the context of the Libyan intervention, which we used AFRICOM to invade, but however did not use it to employ democratic norms on the military itself. The contract this argument is solved by the affirmative because we would just use the military itself to engage with this NTC military, which means the plan should be able to clarify what it means. The alternative RE's argument is just about the rare earth elements in China. It doesn't assume that China would box us out of Africa, or evidence indicates that Africa is in particular is what is necessary for the guidance system necessary for the Tomahawk cruise missiles of the no war arguments doesn't assume deterrence clauses as well. No Tomahawks are evidence indicates that the low yield nuclear weapons key to prevent crisis escalation in this area and the plan self China war extinction. Yet the told for rare earth apocalypse eventually of Chinese rare earth experts many countries do not stockpile resources they have. No two latest perfectly poised the only produce solar powered photovoltaic computer chips and more. And as well by traders come out aside separate from some situation might involve in Nuclear War 3. Now the NDC made first is the argument about the status quo self-truth that they would say yes, yeah. The evidence indicates that the NDC just doesn't have the capacity to integrate the malicious, because they have the lack of capacity means the malicious won't integrate even if they want to. The argument about we don't know where they are is irrelevant. The plane does interacts with the NTC, not the malicious itself. No impact argument doesn't assume the weapons spill over, which would spill over to Egypt, which causes the conflicts that are stable in the status quo to escalate. Or Erickson evidence indicates that Egypt escalation causes China and Russia nuclear war because it would close the Suez, which answers their impact defenses. The evidence indicates that weapons spill would break down the peace treaty, which causes a nuclear war, and the Hezbollah and Russian army doesn't assume miscalculation, which is independent by weapons extinction impact. Okay. The plan should be the focus of the debate. A support a stable evaluation plan focus is the only way to ensure clear, stable comparison between the plan and the alternative and the further confusion. What's being comparable method judge should use weight competing claims built in about one potential problem involved trying to account for representational dimensions that it cannot be in the same way with dimension. The absence of no observable ground takes place in B is ground shifting from pure critiquing representation with some hints with 1C because our offense is on our plan, not the words our authors use shifting. B demand 1 and C have to never predict what the 1C will be compared against, even if some ground exists is not predictable. C is not education. The firm develops the ultra generic destroy debate over the top of education prime benefit debate. Also, alternatives, you cannot tie them down to anything. The fact that they're just specific, intellectual, or critical means that there's no way to generate offense reciprocal because they can shift out of it. And critical theory destroys your ability to engage productive debates on political solutions. Chandler and listening to trends discipline to affirmers which have taken up critical theory argue that possibly most exists conservative problem solving. The critical theorists try to focus and maintain alternative thinking. Critical has become pressed by which they will think and engage with comes research rather than research. And we're looking nice to intense in academia are concerned with our belief facts and then engaging well theoretical preference or based on what the choice say about them as ethical individuals and how there might be some understanding engagement politics to become religious activity that is illicit activity based on social engage public because when no information find itself yourself rather than external consequences more weapons to engage politics less to engage the concept will how we engage the levels political also role playing is good and solves your arguments why the critique is necessarily anticipated role playing presents and I can teach you learn your approach with deepening conceptual understanding by using student interaction concept lively enable students to actively experience constrained motivation political simultaneous teaching research tools like dynamics based on role decision makers games are structured by even better play with specific games contain specific structure rules that dictate what it means to win a simulated interaction research is laid out the various role playing exercise clear procedure use thermal classrooms simulation assignments to educational objectives method are particularly effective in bridging the gap between academic knowledge and everyday life. Such exercise also lead to enhancing interest in top development and knowledge. Also, their case, the modern equivalent of alchemy, their methodology is wrongful with bias and results in more violence. Steinberg and 7. The nuclear war provided the impetus for peace studies, which ended up programmatic study. Many of the public text programs have consisting from the in-depth study flawed methodology, realist approach, most basically lead to terms or ignore how you just have to report the expert by the power relations are subjective and transfer from the philosophical world to the political realm. Post-colonial ideology should be reinforced by lack of systemic investigation, critical evaluation, absence use of empirical analysis illustrate also to the following initial agreement scholars to claim the success of the absence of subsequent film mysterious models of tautological nature that independent external measurable variables which would determine cause and effect. Use of term demonization, post-colonial obsession with the other dominant ideal saturated version of peace as the modern equivalent of alchemy. Peace studies has not produced peace by tremendous volumes of programs, course of publication, conferences, different last political leaders increasing where the false promise made. Themes of literature include power, balancing, reconciliation with crops approach to try to fail and repair the ground with greater balance and with efforts to Sri Lanka, Balkan cells with the fails and distorting impact post-colonial ideology. It's clearly impacting the failures of this has replaces the empires of the oppressors also. Is on epistemology is bad. This turns the alternative forward into currency epistemology and ontology to defend the priorities issues over explanation power. The last two with the function of form, the explanatory accounts that depend on philosophical commitments that rational rational choice connected to account for what this power does not undermine the rational choice leader may provide the best account and democracy systems is an imperialistic case logic justifies authoritarians who speak in Kaborsik and 6. The Marxist often meant that accusation culture imperialistic activities nothing in common with because Western culture minus the objectives who benefit for anti-democratic activities and this culture different than Marxist pushing is not private interest protects the anti-abuse of power. There's nothing imperialism here but the end gives citizens a full decision making information due to the plan and online competitive parts the alternative solves better for others 991 I present analysis of Marxist effect makes the fullest champion respond with them skepticism or rooted about the guilty article belief some of the service dismiss the whole enterprise sinister examination because in some truth rather down proposition over statement except unequivocally closing off rather than issues for debating. Also, the K of democracy systems in general is wrong. It does the exact opposite of what is needed to Young's. And on the critique feels aggressive. What is the new issue? Democracy system involving the critique is not what the scrutiny of the empirical observers become well accepted. The democracy approach without rolling prior to say procedural, but social. Once your pathology is gone, the power of the local political empowerment to flourish current is the democracy direction. Also, the alternatives application to Africa is bad in particular. This is KMR. And Tucson Elementary, African tendency to become discursive amounts of matching African self-relation will reach dead nationalist reading, at least the conception of African subject as wounded victim in history, conspirator, to come to galvanize radical vision of African brain, a full self-help by disconnecting himself from the world. This imagining the world without others from memory. Once that imagine called African, rooted explosion of victim of black men's feeling, emerging images reflect on suffering history of recuperate collective the African collaboration slavery and science over the guild find self in Manchester states of war African through excessive. Also, their case is wrong about Africa and the plan solves all of their offensive. This is specific to Africa. I'm shaped for equal in 7. Other nations would usually be expected to welcome music against you have hesitate because you're in opposition parties about to want to see long conspiracy theories about Africa against position, claiming conspiracy except for Africa despite lack of evidence used position could not be more is in terms of fear, let's say entire purpose after common diffusion, correct, by increased regional cables in their every city. Also, we have an impact term, the alternative, even if it's about the debate itself, there's a spillover of their impact arguments like this is Dugan and 220 recolonization type made as something intellectual fatigue, the harsh terms reminiscent and randomly modern gravity or clashing perspectives on resolving the issue of recolonists generally from guys that necessarily means or at least just by protecting others does not mean they contemporary better form of colonialism, colonialism, the extreme full of power solid, different and less than colonialism, well-meaning leaders, and let's see. Liberal democracy, good at focusing on strategic deterrence, key more important. Here is a word not focusing on the reality of some of the factors may contribute to war, maybe the infinite says not whether existing legal war, key to control the economy has been able to check kind of robust. What is democratic peace? Democratic peace is essential in China. Non-democratic systems have not only failed to constrain aggressive behavior, even the ruthless behavior of war. It's absent democracy sound effect, and it's also liberal democracy statistically better. It's Akari in 97, the liberal democracy accountability, ethnic division, that bias and lives in the peak. Levels of democracy has a foreign international system, levels of war, political competition, the divisive athlete, device democratic peace, actually liberal peace, Republican checks and balance, rule of law protection, other explanation for the perpetual peace are all closely linked to trouble liberal care for 2,000 years. The problems associated aggressive scientists remain filled dead using an impressive data of the last 200 years democracies one toward more than another, and liberal democracy is the best system that can incorporate local alternatives, youngs, and love does not necessarily mean that alternatives have severe legitimacy and descendant conceptual commitments can act usually the parliament is desirable form. It's not equal that they should be the same sharp and west defense core levels, but they have no philosophical justification for saying without replacing the same. Their existing methodological features have been used in liberal tendency or being unduly defensive about the virtues of liberal core liberal democracy tenets. Also, the liberals can affirm cultural difference and contingency. Their critique is totalizing portrayal of liberals are some, and the postmodernists rejecting the idea that human beings have rights similar to being human. That's such a basic life of criteria saying they distinguish me right on the game of doubt and presupposes certain hypothesis means technical somewhat self that confer the human beings framework in which people's hypothesis peaceful side by side protection, liberalism, pluralism, common value. He creates a little ground even though this is a post-colonial time constitutes sufficient ontological right. There needs to be no contradiction between the postmodernists and the self. Also, all of the link arguments are talking about the Libyan intervention in the first place, not what AFI did, which means that we solve the interlink to all their impact arguments because it solves the reasons why they think this project of state building is bad because we can emphasize democratic norms. Their evidence is just about intervening and leaving them there. Also, we link turn all their scholarship arguments in the Seif and Lewis and 10. Arab thinkers have felt that genuine problems can be served by truth. This not meant a demonstration or Orientals or scholars are deeply divided into goats, and there's more lack of Arab customers sensationalizing them for political culture. The Western is dependent on Arab heritage of equal, not even essentially the Orientals of that blemish, but the heritage and Arab face off the alt. They take it too far, which means that their specific applications are wrong for anyone. Oriental security considers to be judged to be significant gains portrays by false and conventional practitioners. Oriental security have the best word-centric superior original power reforming the original argument postmodern strong. The result is if you satisfy also be skeptical of the sweeping claims that 2 and C is going to make me and 6. If no conservative ideology is not precise, it does not accept the core meaning of Holocaust American imperialism. It's drawing consent intellectual life or races can be taken to the position. It's the result of involved in the hack or market Howard permutation to the alternative. They say that they're going to do the plan. It's not severance because it includes the plan. If they lead the plan, yeah.
So your rare earths cause extinction impact is written by someone who's an editor at AOL Web Blogs and is a columnist at extremetech.com.
You also ignore
Seems
the
like
part.
a really good example of terrible
Hold
scholarship.
up, stop. That is, you've just straw person a site. He's also in the Department of Education at the
What?
University of Essex. Hold up, he's also the lead editor of Zip Davis, and he's also an investor in rare earth
Here's the
metals.
site to your card, so let's not accuse me of cherry picking. Where does it say Department of Education in it?
Education, University of Essex.
Education at the University of Essex. I'm
He's
gonna
also
have a
the
bachelor's
lead.
degree in
Well, hold up, he's the
months.
lead
What is it?
editor at Zip Davis. Hold up, this is also just as qualified as all the assertions Lane's going to make in the 2NC. So I don't.
It's at techcrunch.com. I'm wondering what the methodology for how this guy presumes that rare earths cause extinctions. The World War III, war with China,
What do you mean
rare
by
earth,
what
eventual
methodology
fall.
that he used? He used predictions based on geopolitical calculations.
Where's the defense of the predictions in his geopolitical calculations?
I mean, it's based on observations of what Chinese companies and the government has been doing as a result of its control of rare exports, rare
I
earth
want to
exports.
talk about
It's talking
this,
about how countries are stockpiling reserves that they have.
Yeah, you're ranting about the blog post. I get it. I want to talk about this Goromkar evidence. This evidence says things like imagery of Africa that has become corrupt, discursive models of imagining Africa and its relation to the world.
The nationalist reading leads to a conception that African subject is a wounded victim. History is spiritually. This is all saying like refs of Africa as needing Western help is bad. I don't understand why this isn't a DA to the alt.
No. This card,
DA to the
no,
back,
stop.
not the
This card is talking about post-colonial studies that talk about how Africans are victimized by Western imperialism and democracy.
I mean,
promotion.
the thesis of the app is that Africans need Western intervention in Africa, in terms of AFRICOM and to the NTC to help them stabilize their governments. Why is that not a DA to the app?
First of all, our advantages are based off of like
Yes, your advantages are like
based-
U.S. hedge and AFRICOM.
We have not made an argument about we
Africa.
need to intervene to save
You've
the
made
poor
arguments
Africans.
like
That
things
is,
like-
you're the only one that's made that
Your
argument.
entire
You're the only one
your,
that's made that
your
argument.
malicious advantage is based off U.S. assistance to help the militias
This card is talking about
synthesize and
the
become
imagery
professional
of
and Western.
Africans as victims of imperial domination.
Okay, how about this?
We have never made that claim.
Okay, so
Never.
how about this? What do you think the link to the negative is for that card?
The link to the negative talks about, well, cross-examination of the 1AC, he talks about how the idea that the application of Western liberal democracy is different in the instance of
I'm
non-Western
sorry,
states.
I'm not hearing a victimization of Africa link in there.
That your impact arguments in your K is about imposition of Western liberal democracy on non-Western states. That is, in the context of Africa, unless you want to say your K isn't about Africa, then you're probably going to lose on no link.
I think if they just pulled and said that, and said, here's what it is.
They're on the outside looking in.
It's not going to go with hope. Back in the streets, we have boiling water mix early on, so that's a good start.
I'm good. It'll be the critique.
Actually, we need just a second.
We use 3 more seconds, so we use 1.
806.
Hey, are you guys prepping?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you stopped.
It's all good, don't worry about it. Where's the sack?
The being wallet. Yeah, that looks like a service is maybe that person.
Can you grab it?
No. Yeah, he's already on a team. I have bars, but they're getting bars in rotation just started really well. This is a dangerous thing. You get it back up. I pay for bars.
Right.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, you've not done that.
Let's put some on maybe the third one.
Sorry, hold on, Lane.
Yeah, sure. It's 2NC versus US. Yep.
Is there a turn?
Pardon me?
Can I get the turn?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Good throw. It's all good. Just take Gordon's face out.
Oh,
You'll box out later, yeah.
yeah.
And I know
It's not bad. He was practicing his right hook and left jab. Right?
say one is extinction, no, they make even so I'm evidence as an orthodox first silent aversion to human security ultimately may collapse, and ultimately make internal stability collapse, and which means we religion and time takes our evidence and approaches international level state building and presume interstate warnings, private or interstate wars, for instance, view and teach the government how to focus on allocating the resource towards the militias as opposed to things like crime reduction, ultimately makes control and stability, and never makes me controlling to the case, peace, more destruction, minds, out, which gets so seven, he's understand what is possible, put in order, justice, and justice, strict facts, restoration, not valid, possible, control, discrimination, strict facts, control, the war for forward, people, killed, what's the being from disease, selling, displacement, the group of private, which finds something natural, more natural, how is the case culminating extinction, necessity, and maintenance, wars of weather, formation, misery, starvation, exploitation, degradation, human revival, war, essential, lust, revolution, environment behind, invisible, international security, any weapons which generate social and social pay for this war, the peace can obviously governments of a sovereign this war, and we close the balance feature, when hatred and insecurity has been there, there's a question about sustainability development, about sustainability human life, I need this level of human cap market, human conscious point, they have no different methodological advantage of liberal state building, all their cards are either talking about international relations theory, about realism, or B-war analysis, which we have been arguing about, not a limelight framework, group of our interpretation of the judge to be an intellectual rating, and all those things, the one I see, we with the epistemological foundation, the average suspect, which we need respect of hypothetical enactment, is more intellectually directed than reclaims the political internal interest, and you see the political argument build it, does not intellectual writing different means for state domination position, does by political change, they writing the general, without time to reach civilization, may achieve, would result the falling back on the state intrigue, civilization, not necessarily the wishful thing, critical virtue, power, non-state security, and people who spend on state level action involving international security, and generally body example, non-state acquisition, just by the new thinking about policy, about policy, about hard political change, just house relations, still the 90s, people in certain examples, like those sort of means, like speaking situation, let's make a change, even the practice, to think and writing, market, writing framework means the permutation is response to that to justify the one-issue worldview, to lose, we win the knowledge work is academically bankrupt, because it's fundamentally an academic activity, our framework is theoretically superior, someone is more critical in real world judges or educators, not policy makers, you have the ability to multiply new factors, you have the ability to criticize their framing the world beast, when plan focus is bad, it's uncritical, and kills critical thinking, reduces a 9-minute advocacy to a 4-second sentence, and train irresponsible students who don't debate their assumptions of the problem which they form a problem solution, also proves the both of the permutation or sentence on the representation of the one to see which voting issues stores all the ground, makes the academic short take the team to strip our backs and believe in favor, we don't need an alternative, the ballot is a referendum about whether the avid Colgate's a productive approach to academia, if a student turns in an F paper, the teacher doesn't have to read the paper to conclude that it was bad. Now, the next argument the alternative is made, the notice that there's a run left what is made, cross-examination checks the claim itself made, because we have to be commencing to a 300-page document, we also don't have an alternative, it is a response, it is a reconceptualization of the way they usually think about the one I see, it's not about unique, it's not unique, it's Kaplan, and rather says that as an intellectual, it's necessary for you to historicize and render contingent every aspect of the one I see to demonstrate the epistemological foundations of it, or suspect we are going to win impact even to the case, which means that if we went there, scholarship is academically bankrupt, we as students have to change the way we culturally appropriate knowledge about the Middle East. The next piece of evidence of this channel evidence, the reading of channel is backwards. He's a neg argument, his argument is that critics of the liberal piece are wrong because international state builders no longer attempt to promote democracy or plan to reverse that Chandler. 2010 assumption of our liberal piece argument as the whole pulse makes a government institutional expectation of how they focus. Capacity of the enemy, so like extensive opinion of the nature of democracy is a form of the focus. The government takes the liberal piece where I'm arguing for the export of democracy, language, and liberal institutional approaches, democracy, privatization, level something. You get one less student by international expert policy, invention, cannot rely on truly promoting democracy representations. We're not ready for freedom, assess for aspiration, rights, and amendments, have policy makers revolving on the regulatory measure, which is just the problem. We're not like democracy rather than liberals to take on a project discussion of how we can keep living complexity in our Western society, non-Western societies. We have a couple of legal arguments. First of all, the plan starts by presuming the necessity of American intervention or evidence of the Western scholars when they discuss the Middle East inevitably presume that the United States has to be the arbiter of the international system and ontologically situates the U.S. to the center and renders everything else to the periphery. This is proved by all the case arguments, the rights making the one and out of the militias already invaded. Second laws, they literally turn the military to remain mining ground for consumption for U.S. militarism that locks out the locals so branches access to materials would always be prioritized to be exported to the United States as opposed to access to local individuals. That is the reason why the U.S. got kicked out of the region, which is the serial policy failure argument, which answers all the policy making good arguments. There's also a link to the deterrence argument. She makes this deterrent argument at the beginning about how they solve international peace. That begs the question of peace for whom? Our evidence of the focus on interstate security, nationalizes violence at the substate level, ultimately makes collapse of international stability, and now they paint over the U.S. contribution to international violence versus the Hezbollah and Israel advantage ignores the way that the U.S. arms sales and the production of things like the Tomahawk cruise missile. Actually, here's the reason why authoritarian states had access to military technology, which proves how the United States attempts to manipulate the stability in the region, ultimately collapsing around itself. It also ignores the way that the U.S. is proud of Israeli and Germany, which is the reason why there's violence in the Middle East. They say role-playing is good. You should role-play as a Libyan individual who is suffering under the destructive lines of American imperialism. Their evidence that say role-playing is the state's necessary. Their cyber evidence says that realism is correct. This is the double term of the one I see because it's all predicated on this writing of liberalism, which proves that the one I see case law and also proves the academic contradictions at the heart of their liberal project. Ahmed evidence is so damn good about answering the historical application of Orthodox realism. Our evidence is that the realist scholars have never had an effective predictions. The reason why they weren't able to see the end of the Cold War coming the next argument is no evidence on how epistemology matter. Ahmed evidence critiques the very notion that theory or practice are different from one another. Our evidence says that theory fundamentally forms practice because violence ultimately has to be psychological and cultural before it becomes political, which means that if we would have they have an epistemically violent way of understanding the Middle East, it will culminate in interstate violence. So rethinking the way we talk about the Middle East, and that's the Bills and evidence right about. They say democracy is good. I'm going to answer. There's a card and this card here. This evidence follows us that liberal promotion of democracy, that liberal democracy in other countries is a good weary interlinked with that because the U.S. state-building project inevitably sidelines real questions of democracy, social justice for individuals, that external the permanation. If I win the framing government's above, then it's all relevant. Here's a link to their China. And then this the permanation may cause a self-fulfilling prophecy of Chinese referendum headed that's more literature corruption. It's just reduction inside the objective that kind of charge reality, realism, descriptive reality, the predicate, all Western identity, the real self. I didn't lose constitution, reality, experience, security, no, that's China's nothing more. They don't take geopolitical analysis by asking how China will history, activity, and how elected about power, with leverage, Chinese military power by default, China marches to the emphasis on security themselves with U.S. self-organization because U.S. doesn't define itself. And it's indispensable all beyond national security. China represents an uncertainty, power, excellence, another China. Here, religion, or attention really matter all sides. China's been qualified as now the gas around the construction, which came out and saved the security concern. And the nation only rubber without the China threat is true, rather than reflection of impositive methodology, market for methodology. The permanation links to all of our framing governments above reformism is impossible. Where's that? Yeah, reformism is impossible and just co-opt sales journalists from Peterson. Oh, not a European Arabs and never significant security can categorize the liberal approach that actually promotes human security by creating national mechanisms, human security is not represented new. Security general rather than security existing security approaches with the addition of the integrated response makes our kind of graphic not existing security general post action reconceptualizing security itself reformulating portrait graphic and generating the backlash we have used of human security distrust relies on reinforced dominant power relations opposed to representing a paradigm of the radical resistance individuals the focal point of security of policies legitimate steps from peace building projects filling this creating more distrust is justification for more invasive intervention by political tyranny uses altruistic rhetoric to legitimize interventions and imperialist activities marked after imperialist activities their mass armies their young evidence is evidence rhetorically probably does not but does not presume an international security framing our movement evidence is that even if approaches to liberal peace building are effective in the abstract U.S. policymakers inevitably go in with the most that state security which is the structural lines armies made above they say this Afrocentrism argument cross-examination is pretty embarrassing this evidence that when we talk about sub-Saharan Africa is pitiful and needing the United States assistance causes infantilization they're the only ones who link the term because they presume that militias are barbarians who are running around the need the United States to integrate them the entire solves them the one is also backwards because we assume militias are running around and don't want to be integrated in the U.S. assistance wouldn't solve it proves the self-fulfilling nature of U.S. assistance that ultimately causes serial policy failure which is a reason for negative obstruction this African do they'll be the one in our they say they've written another piece of evidence about how U.S. not about democracy internationally is good we're interlinked to that we not just by autopsy or argument our Richmond evidence is the alternative is to let democracy emerge and dangerously in other countries our evidence as questions for the alternative the liberal state building project presupposes the United States needs to be involved in the Middle Eastern exploitation which is the reason why there is Middle Eastern violence group that deterrence arguments wrong deterrence causes psychological and ontological insecurity and cycle of violence that causes extinction deterrence now one nuclear bell in the wall deterrence destructs the images of exile culture need feeling normal we believe that nobody's lost no harm we have so we're really be trying to launch nuclear hostage so well that we can try to revive the whole hostage the erotic meaning nuclear images indicate the bomb it has a certain amount of civil war and social universe the guarantee of our universe is nothing else can select for our infinity so probably is the bomb perceived as indispensable for our national security which is really unerotic sympathy circumstance we cannot apprehend annihilation the empirical that we only use as empirically defensive weapon ultimately craving for controls manifest for our power limitation structural power reveals and craving for infinite power mocked to infinite powers deterrence fails and causes structural lines because of a negative conception of peace this is an independent link that's a descent to the permanation standing purpose thus new balance and every bit of national cycle comes to peace feel the absolute worst person also the fear is not taking to peace to strengthen these arm race this comes out of the massive indiscriminate killing for peace which meant for the third mass killing and average total standard proclamation with synoptic the debilitating sanctions all into the enemy threat how peace involves efforts to build bridges between absolute this involves threats to the planet negative peace and not linked with these balance is only manifestation responsible into future violence are the greater magnitude also episodic presupposition take for all this prediction you should be skeptical of all their impacts of people on link army this erosion trying to support us and on knowledge to prevent the Middle East produce fundamental problems and epistemological level create distortions and just for the name of those with power vast literature just some from terms of objectivity and realities of the Middle East is all objectivity as false journalists biological tropes spread to an ideology overlooking social movement reporters came from America's visa source as well like representation takes into account in every case in their predetermined discourse American media was what's fit to the narrative of American empire contacts with the West and it should drive history tracing to Islam is served like a COVID neological driven by American imperial discourse their next argument is post-colonialism is a bad methodological approach we are not that we're saying U.S. little state building is bad they're made out of our labia link argument is not true our far point it's actually very specific to post-interventionist U.S. assistance for democracy arguments as people know the U.S. ulterior motives which not only internally their African armament also proves the U.S. will get kicked out of the region that's about drained out of Saeed's Orientalism studies which are not relevant I'm going to read a Russian link where is it Russian link correlated Russian no objective so by obedience and you're more likely to be the worst situation South Russia better for America these civilized Russia be catastrophic and it goes living the globes by happy and Trump over ideology reality and more by Western investigation transgression discourse relation across everything
what is the liberal democratic state?
So our critique doesn't take a stance on what in the abstract liberalism is, but the U.S. has an approach to liberal state building.
What is the U.S.'s approach to liberal
So our evidence says that the focus on state building is always on security between states as opposed to security inside states. So the way that we would teach the country to govern democratically would be by focusing all of the resources, for instance, on militia integration as opposed to solving poverty, providing social services, providing social justice. Our evidence is a direct trade-off argument.
So what conception of rights would you agree with more than?
Well, our argument has nothing to do with the actual rights on the ground. It's to do with promotions of rights.
Which rights can the United States promote?
Okay, I think think your question is symptomatic of the problem we're criticizing. It's the idea that the U.S. needs to always be promoting something. Our evidence
So
says,
you abdicate the promotion of liberal democracy.
well, our evidence says in the context of Middle Eastern democracy, attempting to
Yes or
manage...
no? This is not like a difficult question, Lane. Yes
Well,
or no?
in the context of Libya, yes.
Okay, so
Obviously.
you say that the
Replace the
debate
plan.
is a referendum on knowledge production and you should grade the 1AC. Should you get graded?
Obviously. I mean, if you and our epistemology is flawed,
Okay,
then...
so what is your scholarship? Explain it to me.
Okay, so for instance, our Rosen evidence says that a lot of scholars who criticize the liberal state building project, like Oliver Richmond, who wrote a lot of our 1AC card, use ethnographic studies as well as social scientific and historical methodologies that demonstrate that the U.S. literally has never had an effective...
Literally has never. How do you prove claims like that?
Historically, using... I mean, we're not...
Like empiricism?
We're not making a post-positivist or like...
Right, so the
claim
way
about
that you should evaluate whether or not claims are true or not is based on like empiricism.
Yeah, but we are criticizing the empirical reference point from which your authors are studying the world.
So like,
Yes,
what
we're
is
linked to
hold up.
empiricism.
What is the empirical ethnographic study that you have done to prove the claim you prop up Israeli hegemony, which is the reason there is violence in the Middle East?
Well, so for instance, your advantage is predicated on arms leaking out of Libya that will cause conflict in the Sinai.
Here,
Let's
let's make this simpler, Lane.
Yeah.
What ethnographic study did you do to determine that the only reason there's violence in the Middle East is because of
it's
Israeli
obviously
hegemony?
not the only reason, but our evidence says that Europe and instability...
So like which parts of your scholarship should be accepted and which parts like is bound in ethnographic studies?
Obviously, we would defend that the epistemology of all of our authors are correct. If you're obviously going to call those into question.
What's the way to validate those claims?
Well, based on history, like argumentative clash.
Okay.
This is all just like begs how the judges like evaluate any debate.
So Chandler card, you read a card about like democracy, etc. Why does this prove that the way you address the problem solves?
Well, the idea that something needs to be solved, I think, is what we take issue.
So it doesn't answer the claim that we made in our Chandler card. Is basically
Well, no, the claim in that Chandler card is that approaches to liberal state building are effective. Our evidence says that they have not been focusing on democracy. Chandler actually goes negative, which whatever.
Okay, so I need a flash drive, and it's the K where they read the AFRICOM card. I believe the site is Schaefer.
Or just put on the case.
Well, I would just need a second for it or something.
Oh, no, okay, whatever, it's fine.
The K, so hopefully that's clear. Stability, AFRICOM.
Are you just reading a card there, or are you doing a video?
I'll read a couple cards. So you know what, actually, okay, just put AFRICOM on top and I'll just do that on AFRICOM. So I'm answering the 2AC argument, that 2AC card on AFRICOM.
So does that mean you don't even pay at all, or just starting at?
Yeah, I'm just going to start at AFRICOM, but I'm going to answer that 2AC argument, which is
There.
okay, but, you know, it's probably a meta argument anyways.
Ryan, what's it saved as?
Should be one in our, oh, I didn't get here, let me fix it.
There was a 4 for the T and the 2 on the C. Tentacles.
What?
Okay. Is that good? It is literally inconceivable to me that the optics they
the AFRICOM will revert to its old ways. The perception of militarism is two. It turns out Ramallah evidence they can't reform military strategies. A is the military will use hard counterinsurgency tactics. Brzezinski and Savage are communication capital documents skeptical of the public that Africans were heritage of African trust of duty plus significant efforts have taken. Pursuit their conceivable offers and reflect the conceivable for development campaign when the hearts find the benefits of military operations. B is they cause backlash even if they're superficially successful. Brzezinski and Savage of tactics that result in the from the end of American physical and destructive incident of usual in erosion Africans for Africans work from the goal intention to us never sees the absence internal link isn't big enough to takes out. Sees the absence internal link isn't big enough. They can't win a total change in perception of African status quo, especially because they have no internal link evidence. So actually that Africans now this all turns the other advantage because it proves that the campaign can't result in NCT legitimacy. Military projects cause blowback and kiss of death is empirical perceived of having alternative trigger motives which change the project implementation makes project failure inevitable. It's also not inevitable. Crumbling African perception will diminish its influence on the continent. That is your unique disarmament. It's also a role without obviates any sort of dumb uniqueness claims. They just make them mad. They just mask the inevitable presence of humanitarianism. A strong role in Libya reduced African government's willingness to allow U.S. military access to even send 11 the Republic of National Africa continuing AU was unequivocally opposed to any African view. Opposite shall be seen up to Harvard invasion of Africa. Africa's political interest in Africa will have a hard time establishing one of the with African governments and African governments will reject African students in 11. This is your author. Africa was trying to bring bureaucratic government for to bring military action. African law for medical full scene to tell large number of research breaches of sufficient amount of Africans and militarization. We call this in the plot perception of African US interest to fiscal level civil deaths of African oil and gas. That is their author was proves that when that's the same article that says Libya might be important. This proves they can't generate a unique term. Not like the credibility that says hold on now. Their rare earth card is a proof of our cherry picking scholarship card. This card is written by ExtremeTechCrunch.com and Paul is making up his qualifications. He's an editor at an AOL blog and might have a college degree. There's zero defensive methodology. This is prescriptive of the rush to connect X to Y to geopolitical extinction status quo assaults rare earth errors and 11. The Chinese military companies with the special fund of the overseas exploration and secret volunteers so far. The funds of use of craft activities, exploration activities, and insignificant battle factors by reason never Chinese control of overseas metal productions, best marginal, who consider global scale. This is also a devastating link to our K arguments. They want to streamline the continent in order for U.S. energy security in the future. They have zero defensive methodologically knowledge. Lastly, they concede the PMC's argument that's pretty devastating. AFCOM contracts private military to implement trade assistance. This causes worse blowback because they're owned by private companies like Blackwater who have zero respect for the rule of law and under no authority. That turns the entire potential gap to increase legitimacy of the NTC or reform the imperialist tendencies of Africa. We have read normal means evidence for implementation of the plan is not a question of interpreting the plan text, but a question of solvency-based deals which we have generated. Capacity building can't overcome the state of hard paragraphs we said.
She said Russia D and then move on.
They've also conceived a Russia D, there's channels that prevent miscalculation, the status quo, things like diplomatic solutions, increased cooperation, post-start, increased transparency between the countries, meaning that there's no risk of nuclear miscalculation in the status quo. Stability. Status quo solves militia. There are grievous evidence there that they're about to give up their weapons to become sensitized, and the NTC says that militias are all dispersed but not competing with each other, so there's no violence could possibly escalate. Important framing argument is that I read every piece of 1AC evidence on this. They all say that militias are a problem in the status quo, but the NTC legitimacy is increasing now, and stability is returning between status quo solves the K. We turn their yes arguments because AFRICOM backlash turns that status quo solves militias. Their evidence is exaggerated media hype late 12 to 12 the central government is to co-opt the law has done. Just feel the global news being triple years intellectual laws, the biggest social from the side of central authorities will be life actually appearances, sexes, armament, institutionalization, sexual elevated media, cast developments in negative light, malicious won't escalate to violence, haddock, 2016, and positive time, most of the voice pronounced in the single President Walker was not necessarily the culture have used and fabrication of groups people with knowledge believing consent for creating friends, malicious software and security on Sunday, or a second piece of evidence proves that militias are so dispersed in the country that's impossible to identify and train them. They say that means the sheer numbering makes it impossible for them to generate insolvency or AFRICOM backlash turn also turns NTC turns that too because it's impossible. The militias themselves would rebel against AFRICOM to status quo. There's no impact on militias anyways. If we win, they fundamentally won't be violent. That means there's no spillover to Egypt. They're cooperating with each other in the status quo. And a lack of unified leading militia means there's no escalation. Militias don't cause instability. IRN and 1229 liberal office and chaos and surprising efforts. Militias influence means after welcome long to militias registered from the outside. Those ideas but the struggling militias overcome the experience that they could have been. And militias won't cause civil war. Automatic 1-5 most of those not military training plus returns to civil war and nationalism going to happen. Multi special not interconnected so people know domestic instability means despite NTC failures. No domestic instability despite NTC failures on militias. Telegraph 178 the NTC's been said will function back to government will be not telegraph the Garax is that NTC provides has oil industries public living simply run militias this year. Recruitment of militias adds to the problem.
Item 28. After all that. What do you do? Just leave it on the whole time, or you leave it off the whole time? I don't think
That's, yeah. If you want to do that, you should. I compress them afterwards. I go down from 2 gigs to like 200 minutes. There's an easy one. So I do have a whole backlog of a terabyte drive that has a whole bunch of videos on it that have not been compressed. So you don't need to do that so that it doesn't fill.
It takes so much time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can just record them the way they are.
I'm going to tape recorders and there's audio that it comes in pictures, MP3s, and picture space and all.
Well, these
More likely to listen on the road than I am to
it
watch.
takes like 10 minutes to compress a full, 10 to 15 minutes to compress a full debate to an MP4, which is like 5% of the size or 10% of the size. Better on a
In my
flash.
theory receivers, I bought one for every single debater, and you're supposed to record those speeches, so we can practice speeches and movies at home, and then
we were talking about the board that's using the most of these now. I'd like us to go take the software design to sync where your lists are with the audio recording. And even that for a couple of practices, just think I might eventually help. Just use it versus when they're taking notes or push the audio on. Yeah, it's got to be as user as possible.
The only crazy ones are like,
One hard going on is the speech has the macro that automatically count out versus audio.
the crazy rankings at the top are like every ranking
Oh,
that's so you start getting really
very difficult because I think there's a huge study what you said.
yeah, but nobody did that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that was
Only 2 people ranked KK ahead of Gonzaga. Figured out
what?
should have PPC and some just being honest and
You should have regular school, and that's I really think. Moving down to every day, creating other transcripts that'll cover up. The other one I don't take this is less relevant for first round, second round. They're absolutely not just the
I but
Yeah. Here's something that needs to do. If we assess referees and their qualifications of time, someone needs to take away all parts of
who's in both the first and the second round. That's the second round. The first round.
There's always one.
He's one of the only people that ranks BM ahead of LPs. Ranked Georgia outside the top 16.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm done, but I didn't, the jump driver.
I had to use 427, but I'm sure.
It's 507 left, that's what I got.
And what was the reference? How much time do we have left?
You all have 8 assists.
It's 1 hour, 7. I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick. That's
Our district rankings, it's somebody who used to regularly do rankings for us, it's all of them.
okay. Come on, Ryan, let's go.
Alright.
We're going.
Have a good time. See you later.
Bye.
It's like high or low on
Omar
almost
doesn't do
every.
the rankings.
Someone does it for him.
Yeah, Davey should do all the numbers and then he just signs off.
So it's like the head coaches going up there. Coaches
I was just gonna say, right? And they're like, I didn't watch the games. I trained to do it. Everybody else was
But then they take the heat one.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, Dallas had China.
Joel used to do the official ones, and when he did his official ones for our district, they were always great.
I'm just getting up on that.
It'd be interesting. This is not a basic anything, but if you were to run Sam's,
Yeah.
and we have the secondary high-low,
Right.
something
Something else to try. Yeah.
What are you eating under there?
Underwear.
Hey, Scott, do you want this?
Is there, what's on it?
Cards?
Sure, I like cards.
Sorry, you know I don't. That
I know.
Yeah.
Roland Ryan's got the arm.
Yeah.
I think more comprehensive, but I think this is what we should do.
Although Bobby Lane,
See the data with the
his quarterback, was a great quarterback back in
Yeah,
the
and still
Lions
preserve
Hall of
their
Fame.
right to do that, you know, maybe judgment, but if not.
I'm not really-
It's spelled a little different.
Their partners.
No, it's not saying it well.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is a good comparison. Who ranks Michigan State
Before I
outside
was
the top
born.
16? Because partner change. But then with the second round with K-State,
Control for that,
you
yeah.
see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, did they account for the partner in both, or did they
Right. That'd be
exclude the
good.
partner in both?
48 draft.
Like, who ranked them?
Put the
Or
one in.
something like that.
Yeah, his numbers are
Out.
Bobby
Ranked Michigan
Knight
State out of
Train
the
Lane.
16, but he's got K-State. He looked at the previous partnership and ranked them.
Previous partnership, I can cut out the dimension.
They can.
My sense of
They
people,
can.
what ends up that, and what I last talked about is to create a functionality where all the data you can review, the voter has the option to view that with a partnership without. So you don't have to make a decision of what you want to do, but you know, if you choose to use the other data, like now it's million, which is a huge, especially for the second round. First round is less than 50 second round.
Yeah.
Well, second round, it's
I'd like to see John be able to do like create guarantors for the.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're talking
Who we
about.
want.
I think we're going to set fundamentals of things. Which of this can you do in a way that's not super too soon? Great, just to, you know.
Yeah.
I guess in turn, there's one that I created. Fancy. It's already is organic. It's just something for me to do that. For every tournament that a second round goes to, there's like 40 tournaments this year that a second round team can do.
Yeah.
To do that before I get drunk.
Did you get it back? Flash drive? So I need the speech doc, if that's possible.
It's right in front of you there.
NDA.
Thanks, man.
If you were playing a game of suicide, how many in the first round can you take in the correct order until you get eliminated? That has to be right. You can answer that. I sure got all the
All right. Everybody ready? It's the militia's advantage, AFRICOM advantage, and then the K.
Did you notice that this is for semis is Oakland versus 4?
Okay. Everyone good? Malicious advantage argument for the status quo is able to solve AFRICOM advantage or shade for evidence answers this argument indicates that focusing on conspiracy theories by AFRICOM leads to more instability in the region. Additionally, this also answered by our optimism on the case that you do not have any empirical evidence for this, just anecdotal evidence which leads to instability every time it's implemented practically. They say that the military is not going to inform you should default to our evidence about the capacity and the rule of law. Your evidence is not about AFRICOM, it's just about American intervention. Your stick evidence isn't talking about AFRICOM, which means that you don't get your idea of your kiss and death arguments not. You think there's a little back in the tactical plan is key to reframing AFRICOM. That is our evidence when I see the Stevenson evidence is AFRICOM in the case that AFRICOM is feared because of things like the intervention which the plan reframes initially. Your second piece of Stevenson evidence includes AFRICOM because it indicates that AFRICOM has assuaged people's fears that it's trying to colonize Africa, which means there's no internal link to this argument. Your P and C's evidence is not something about democracy, systems, emissions, it's talking about contractors being in military intervention, which means that none of these pieces of evidence matter. They have conceded the low yield non-contextualization of the impact of the 2 ACR evidence indicates that Russia hair trigger means the common escalation is extremely likely to Boston evidence indicates that it escalates to nuclear war. There's a scenario for conflict escalation. This will also concede evidence of impact around China. Impact which indicates
Don't extend that, but answer that China doesn't have a monopoly.
They suck.
Answer that China doesn't have a monopoly area.
How do you want me to answer that?
Like, they don't.
Oh, China doesn't have a monopoly of the U.S.
They do.
China does.
China has a monopoly. Africa is key to rare earth metals.
Sorry. China has a monopoly. Africa's key to rare earth metals. That's impacted by the piece of air out from the 2AC indicates that those topics will go to the criticism at the top of the impact framing, even very small reasons from the limited information about the future is enough to shape the consequential scale and suppose and take this example too. Then we literally went through a small amount of major consequence in the case of county consequence here, but more cases, no matter how greater uncertainty, not only small amount of major consequence background, social consequence, give us some expectations that all lives are infinitely valuable. Only ethical option is maximize number of safe treatment scheme. And 96 even one great safety treatment never not investing itself is not justified the outcome of the why not? Killing one be stronger than the saving by reasons to compensate for loss of only safety places being measured or not. Change the truth by making when the use or displaces the knife and using the same as they can in violence is declining to pig or other violence in the community living the most peaceful area of species in our conflict fast and free. This supposed to believe in the violent type especially in some community tendency to partnership or to remember no matter how small percentage there will always be enough to feel everything news and that's recruited access by announcing the thing or getting better in the barriers or good news they are advised to keep them out shelter and intellectual culture slow to admit there may be anything good as civil bond observation with many kinds of violence move and save directions that be a coincidence in the collection of stable trends environmental catastrophe types or hypes and lists to go away to and one of our protections is trying to scare us with the OG nature of 1960 population going across the world 5 decades later we were being told the world by 1996 years when opening the shading of species deforestation not so factual foundation of wind the environment students say today various long saturation lines of the topographic and has been observed challenge they say that the structural in some ways the case of South Korea evidence that he's are low use of local democracy is statistically significant the only thing social structure bonds go to framework arguments on theories of security studies is the best one even if it's not proven theirs lacks academic recognition 98 assessing exponent power culture theories of security study variables tricky to define and make everyone so to gender theories or teasable logic to generate political culture and cultural social conception it's never self you know to the self-political age of blue plants across the medieval sky and big definition make it hard to formulate a successful theory there's a fundamental great uncertainty about the strategy got there and possible to follow the definition of cultural theories used in difficult operation that this beats their academic framework for two reasons first it indicates that our theory of international relations is the best possible one you want with the highest academic status if we win their framework argument and you grade the one I see that you grade us on a curve and give us an A because we do the best possible job and second we should view the alternative data as an A evaluating your professor they have an incoherent grading rubric and a disorganized syllabus no they are tenured professors in this criticism of security studies is epistemologically backed like Dash and 98 colleges of security studies case because they assume this one generated the better ability to generalize because the sheets have given it a whole lot of some case employed the sort of culture could be the best part of studying the portion of the cultural question project for sure rational that were true the cultural left you can then suspect that which will the theories of there was no prediction central theory scientific enterprise that make no prediction or test theories possible policy as their frame or begs the question what classes is if we get a name political science and IR even if we get a C in post-colonial studies choose your major widely studied etc trend the chair learning the best possible part of the subject matter that we're there approach to scholarship produces neat search large produces research Chandler says that critical Irish scholarship is something only undergrad hipsters profess even when they know better extent or land seven conflict studies and security studies the most effective teaching tool to produce the most informed students if they're right about the case that you should vote after initially there framework their framework is organizationally all their index of their Chandler evidence we are answering the one claim they only have a Chandler argument that academic value of debating which this also doesn't answer our latest seventh they say the permutation do both their sevens but they didn't answer the vague alternatives or means you should give us some leeway and switch them or not sevens because you said you could resolve the after go they also you're going to lose this debate for not answering the outbreak and our Steinberg evidence terms your framework argument that you've conceded to your system is good with these are you can win your because your scholarship is because our evidence indicates the standard your also you use to validate this question over the need for the reverse Steinberg says that your claims all rely on anecdotal evidence and social studies means that we have to leave the because of peace studies and fail and empirical examples like places like Balkans and Sri Lanka and all your alternative fails initially all studies are real and take out the alternative try to be cumulative research over and cumulative research from your science and evolution of academic theory policy which allows us to suggest that give you a motivation to find out your relation to your concept of group and when else come there ostensibly they can be and try to direct utility from international science distribution capability effect the likelihood of competition in predictable ways initially only deterrents the fact of beating nations stable peaceful identities this and it escalates violence creates a little more against hostility the same to the Russian China turns the case argument to be and A deterrents not only regulate shocks and human constitute and identity shaping discourse actors use at the same time those identities shaping the power of social structure reassurance will be and purpose to test all kinds of deterrents rather than appeasement deterrents for the actors will be active will be ontological security deterrents practices for an should the actors continue to support the values for the achievement deterrent rationality with the appropriate practice rationality this produces the actions that any international deterrents that is to help explain the more cooperative what?
Market extending liberal democracy.
Liberal democracy could be focus on deterrents liberal democracy that's the direct consequence are more evidence to fall to Zachariah statistically said liberal democracy accommodates ethics within violence the rule law is essential for any individual society or arsenal it means we solve all your violence effects extent the permutation of all of these liberal democracy good evidence and as well as the young evidence crew that it is a net benefit because their interpretation of what democracy is flawed.
According to 801?
806.
Oh.
Great.
something more like alchemy kind of feel.
Yeah, the one you see is green or blue.
I read it off of paper, so I really don't remember what that was. I think it was whatever's darker on the paper, so I think that's probably the green, yeah.
It's just not there.
It's not like reaching semis dropped out because you got to reach first.
And we, for instance, totally shows that it can't work. The people in the village just totally can't stay there. They got it was a problem.
And that's the problem. There's, I just think, yeah, there's anything there.
Right.
And you can have a balanced discussion. I think part of the problem now is have a balanced discussion with those people.
Everybody's using different tools.
You text from the bus. Is that what it was in here?
Nice.
Repopulate some of this.
Right.
Categorize these
This is your rank stuff?
Yeah. And a lot of it is just, as I was the first one to benefit from doing it, this is my frustration. And I was never seen a time of broken people. And I need some way to move away.
It's so hard to, they're not common.
Exactly.
But the question mark reality is not great. It's like, we've got to come out with just like, you took the average of the, these are some big counselors. You know, all come from like overall competitions. And you can use some other windows that are like, it's like, give it an automatic restart for every team. You use them for every team. That allows you to go back and
When I'm doing a district rankings, I use it as a reference, but I disagree so much with the placement of a bunch of the teams.
Oh, yeah. Sure. But it's just like this, and that's the point we said about having to go and have the site auto-populate with the same partners. Because I'm not trying to resolve that question how you do it, but red is never going to. And I gather if both teams are I prefer to send all four students rather than at least they're saying, you know, no, please. But if not, you know, how is the
Yeah, I don't know what you do with some of this stuff. Some of it's just not.
yeah, so not that. You have the dominant vision, so you can make them
I mean, I start with what did they do at non-partners, and what did they do at partners that were both at average.
Yeah.
The second rounds, where they finish, well, then I can look more who did you beat. Well, I was wondering in our district that had your teams flip flop in that ranking. There's a couple of better quality ones, but there's ones that are major.
But I thought about going back and checking where there's good rankings to the tournament.
I don't know if using that stuff for relevant. And then I looked and couldn't find where to get a master list of teams that don't clear at the majors.
Yeah, I think it's hard.
Were you
I
40
think that the
or
data,
60?
I think the data for, I think it just stops it.
Yeah.
Does the big report tell you your seed, even if you don't clean?
It does sometimes.
For some of the tournaments,
Well, I mean, you have to enter it for it to show up there, but sometimes if you look at the tournament data, you can see what yours was. Or if you care enough to track
I
it
found
down.
it for Texas, I think maybe had it as because I was looking for with the third team, did I want to put where they were? And then I said, no, I don't.
Yeah.
They're like, that's Texas, they're like, because they've been announced to the point that I thought they might have been closer to clearance. And there was 42.
Yeah.
So that's the I'm not with usually. It's just I don't know how to spend the time. What's all the time?
theoretically, it ought to be possible to move away from this type of consumer.
You didn't even want your data published on the website, so they at a glance already.
I think, for as long as we didn't got 50 things, it was 4 or 5.
Sure.
The site's already got that. It's the question of running a query to say, like you said, these experiments, or like some button to click on, which is to show with all partners, or show just the 2 students in that together.
But show a previous partner from the agreement. Or just show with all partners.
Yeah, because I mean, on the data points that show up on the thing that comes up where against other second-round applicants or against NDT qualifiers, I mean, that's useful info, but yeah, it's not. That only helps a little bit.
Yeah, I think we have debates against both the K-State team and the KCC team, but only one of which partners. So unless you're tracking all that down, you would never see that coming out of the game.
This is another fun thing. The second round applicants that were below 50% of times. That was something that I've never had to use before. But I was just like,
They were below 50% overall.
how many times do they have? The percent of terms where they below 50%.
Oh,
Started to look at
I see.
You know what would be a cool panel? Would be to have people that have like buyers in the last couple of years, just like have like a moderated, recorded discussion, like moderated, recorded, published discussion.
Well, then
So that people can like talk about what they like, ask questions like, oh, you've got a, you got a TV that's like on the level, is it bad? Is it in the region of France? Shit.
Yeah. It's bad if they don't figure it out.
But depending upon how you do it, you can create a systems by which it hurts, which can never help you.
Right.
not that you develop it, that's when you
Yeah. I'm sorry, what did you say?
AFRICOM and liberty.
One second.
Reforming AFRICOM is only employed for American imperialism, and people in the region know this. This should be an after insolvency. They got work shut down is bad because background house should own woman at any list just be low risk probability, which means that there's no risk of tire die. If we would extinction of our mainland evidence, fantastic. Just putting humanitarian face on AFRICOM just cause more backlash because people think that we are trying to manipulate them in the region. Our evidence says that if the U.S. tries to make it reform, that means just people think we have an ulterior motive which magnifies the backlash. Our keen evidence is specific to RE. Our keen evidence is specific to the RE advantage says that the U.S. tries to strip mine the region and access resources which lacks out individuals which is not willing to link to our structural line targets, but it also means that people will kick the U.S. out of the region and turn to China because they see it as a better model which internal linkers the reasons why liberal democracy is good. The Lorenzo card, which is the only internal link card. Our Lorenzo evidence says that it kills military engagement and undermines international cooperation which linkers the entire case. If we make these arguments, it means you can only make the situation worse, so don't vote on Trident. The Liao evidence was the only internal link card that they have to their advantage. Survey high school newspapers from RidgePoliticalReview.com. We look this card up, which proves our scholarship arguments, how they cherry pick and use and construct political arguments in order to justify American imperialism. They've also received the framing use that all other want to see evidence from people from the United States Air Force, which proves that they have an epistemologically Western ontological position on how they understand the Minister Adams' evidence that it causes democratic backsliding in the region, which linked church. There's a card uniqueness is relevant in the situation. The PMC's argument was dropped in the treaty. This is controlling our structural mind charge evidence that Africa will hire PMCs like Blackwater to do the military training, which not only causes structural mind things like rape and indigenous destruction, but also means that environmental destruction becomes inevitable, which makes poverty and mass warfare inevitable because instability becomes highly likely. There's evidence of Russian war cross-examination of the proof there's zero. Instead of Russia going to war with the United States, our NSS evidence is the reset. So because Obama is reaching out, our eyes and evidence is that it happened. And instead of for peace, because large-scale nuclear weapons can create deterrence, which means a deterrence is inevitable in the South. So another China argument. They did not extend this credibly. Leah didn't need to know what she was talking about. In the ones they did not answer our pan evidence argument, which did not answer by the Lubavitch evidence argument, says that we always presume the worst in China, but they won to integrate the international system peacefully. So for instance, when they move into Africa to form relationships based on diplomacy, we presume that they are militaristic, which causes us to preemptively strike them, which interlinks the region. Why? To towards great stability, which is true for our church argument. This is an extinction. Just so that they have not answered the critique of the top three framing issues that they cannot answer. So one is extinction is inevitable. No, get back to United States imperialism or evidence that justifies domination of the name of empire of the app is only symptom-focused approach which lacks in international violence or evidence. Reformation of this implies impossible for instance the app to search Africa. They strip lines so that the U.S. can access military materials which only make structural lines inevitable. I explained that elsewhere. This whole makes understand warfare inevitable collapses the term beast one is self-fulfilling prophecy. This is the kicker argument. Our movement evidence is the devastating structural lines turns case our evidence of the focus on state security, nationalized interstate security. This sentence, the plan text, this is the permanent evidence that we would seize the living government to put all of their resources into interstate security cooperation, which means that they wouldn't do things like focus on poverty and liberation, which makes state failure inevitable, which interlinks their first event, which obviously proves that Africa think would be inevitable. Cease point of structural life. This is not answer by their impact even in the truth because the usual cards we're linked turning on impact from their usual arbitrary setting works evidence of the utilitarian framing. The white side white washes over invisible violence evidence says more. People die from structural violence than interstate warfare, which our impact outweighs on time frame and probability. Our Peterson evidence says you have to ask the question of security for whom. Our evidence says that our focus on deterrence naturalizes interstate violence because as long as there's no war between states, we can use our proxy conflicts in Africa in order to justify militarism and imperialism. We can finally out in case they read this impact even style environment, reading the environmental extinction army. They read the paper card. The paper card not only double turns with their wolf evidence because paper says the balance is declining as humans don't have a natural progressiveness for proclivity for violence, while their wolf evidence is that realism is devil. This proves how they do not have an academic understanding of how the world operates. This is also a new argument. The one I usually stretch with the 2 hour is most ethical speech and debate out of a 3 hour responding to arguments. It's also impact units in the case. This card does not connect any of the variables of the absolute violence decline which proves and this is literally uniqueness in solving arguments for the alternatives proof that the world is moving towards peace. So there's only a reason the app continue this argument that now we link to their liberal democracy arguments. I mean, the army in the overview now group the framework arguments of death evidence from 1998. We have such more specific evidence to talk about the Middle East argument. This is all from 2012 and 2011. It talks about the U.S. military predicting airframe being from 1998 is important because that was before the Bush administration, which changed the way that international IRP is focused on U.S. imperialism. By Rosen evidence is amazing. It's the situation of the United States in the middle of the world and the creation of the rest of the perfect, only all the rest is balance and ultimately and means. And we always presume the worst in other countries that I presume the U.S. can always solve the problems our frame because if you're not a policymaker, either zero intellectual right in their speech argument. It's true that world war is coming with Russia right now. That means the voting affirmative does nothing to solve it. But our impacts are all predicated on how we as students situate ourselves with regards to the Middle East. They and not our ability evidence that violence is fundamentally cultural before it becomes political, which means just changing the way that we think about the Middle East only has more effective implications for how we can relate to it in the future, which causes better policy focus. Our Richmond evidence is fantastic. It's from 2012 and says the United States select democracy emergent dodgiously in the Middle East. And whatever wants, you're trying to manipulate and understand the revolution you have killed today. Also, all of their paper analogies miss the motor argument is just like you. If we were to link to the representation, the one I see calls into question the epistemological basis of why and how their authors know what they know. They shouldn't be able to sever the representation. They can see the argument of irresponsibility argument. They treat to reduce debate to a 9-minute advocacy to a 4-second sentence with strange irresponsible students who don't think their assumptions of the possibilities they form problems and solutions. They only extend the permutation of 3 seconds out of it wasn't a credible argument. It's 7 handling environment for see which is voting issues, strong on the environment makes the room condition. Our Peterson evidence as the permutation just caused co-option and interest in human security and turned it into a new thing that we would fight wars over, which is proven by the U.S. invaded Afghanistan. Our Richmond evidence has allowed democracy to emerge in dodgerously linked to their Chandler evidence. Chandler is a Ned Carter that Chandler says and the reason why state building is successful is because it does not focus on liberal democracy promotion where the U.S. exports its values and tries to shape the world in its image. Our evidence says this is based on a universalization of how international politics should operate, which undermines academic engagement and ultimately makes warfare a never their legs. His evidence about role playing does not talk about the state and not answer argument that you should role play as a Libyan individual that we did not read a card by side. The Vega Alt's arguments was not dropped or they can see the cross-examination checks. There's no ground on the app. It's also made a group of the Detroit arguments. Our Detroit evidence is amazing and sitting in here with the National Loop Beach evidence. Our evidence that the Detroit is based on the notion that we can render everything noble and hence predictable and presumes that reality is causal, not constitutive. Our evidence has the ability to be able to know the rest of the world only puts the U.S. in an omnipotent position of power where we can make cost-benefit calculations that inevitably right over global voice, which not only makes a self-fulfilling prophecy of warfare inevitable, but ultimately is the internally to our structural line arguments. Permutation was answered above. Noting 2 arguments. The 2 hours most difficult speech and debate.
507.
I'd be interested to see what you were looking at to get Iowa 20.
The true problem was that was today's my nephew's third birthday, so I was trying to wish him happy birthday, but the idea that we limited prep time is not really compelling for him. So, among the items, major prelim percentage, is that is headed in national quality football that way. They have this huge Disney 2 program. Yeah. I don't know, they're you know.
I mean, I appreciate the generosity, but
No, but like I said, you just got a part of height and average partners. So when you average this out, that comes to
you go to the different partners. Oh, I see. So the other, in this case, the other partnership drives this down.
Yeah, when you see that, and that's what the red index is. And so overall, national tournaments.
Yeah, but what hurt them is they only went to a couple majors and they're with different partners. They had trouble.
Yeah, so I mean, that's
Yeah, when I looked through their quality ones, I was like, oh god, they would be very much.
it would help in some ways. They were good against the state. It's not exactly.
They did well here too, I think.
That's a good team for me.
They got to 4. I think they may have had a break. I think they had the biggest diversions.
That's probably due to separate partners.
Yeah, I think so. Well, all of them become separate partners after 10, except for us and Michigan State.
It's not what it got to be. It's sales like that out.
My sports class, I'm number one, but I'm hoping I lose this. I hope I finish last.
That was awesome.
The orders, I'm just framework.
I know, you're just very intent on it, it's hilarious.
Just for
No case, just framework.
you'll have to get from that camera a straight capture and stuff with your reflection. Yeah.
All hunched over like this.
That's your front on their browser screen.
Alright. Everybody ready?
No, I don't know once. Yep. Good.
Alright. No? Still no?
Sure.
My God.
My God.
We can see the 2NC framework argument for a reason. What I want you to keep in mind when you read all of Northwestern's evidence is, would you give an A to a student who threw a bunch of cards at you without explaining any warrants or explanation? This is the smartest decision that I've made in the history of my debate career. Lane has lost himself the semifinals of the NDT. I'm going to concede the 2 in our argument that the plan doesn't happen and that we're all intellectuals. This means that they cannot access a single impact outside of this debate round. The 2 in our has absolutely no argument why their knowledge production would spill over to change policy or explain why the alternative does anything that is productive outside of this debate round, which means that the only thing that matters in this debate is the scholarship of the individuals that are involved. Even if they win the vast majority or all of their arguments about why liberal democracy causes extinction, why the plan is bad, why the plan does not solve it, is not a defense of the scholarship that Northwestern has used in this debate. What is important is what kind of scholarship is best research and most accurate, not what kind of scholarship is the best at avoiding extinction. Even if they overwhelmingly control the amount of evidence about why liberal democratic state building is bad, that is not a defense of the methodology that they have utilized to make those claims. A framing issue for valuing this debate is that they have a ton of evidence to indicting Western imperialism. They do not have an indictment of why Western imperialism is wrong, and they really don't have a positive defense of why the claims that they are making about Western imperialism is accurate. The Steinberg evidence that we read and the 2AC took a minute and a half to read, and it was that long for a reason. It offers a holistic insight of post-colonial studies as a whole. It indicates that the standard of evidence that is set to prove the argument is bankrupt and has failed time and time again, despite really strong rhetoric, because it is all based on rhetoric. An example of this is when the 2NC boldly asserts that the only reason why there's conflict in the Middle East is because of Israeli hegemony. There is a ton of assertions that they can make that are not put up to scrutiny, which means that they can get away with all of these outlandish claims. Their evidence is way more rhetorically powerful than ours, which is why they're ahead on things like the impact debate or the case debate about why Africa is an imperialist project. No one actually responds to these kinds of arguments because the scholarship that is used by their authors is not strong enough to justify this evidence. We read a piece of Massif evidence and a piece of Kamia evidence in the 2AC, which is an indict of the evidence that is used to justify their claims, indicates that more often than not it is a lie and it cannot be applied to real world. The Steinberg evidence is the only piece of evidence that can apply to real world situation. It indicates that people have tried to use this kind of scholarship to de-escalate conflicts in situations like Sri Lanka and the Balkans and several conflict scenarios, and every time it has failed miserably. That is because it is the modern equivalent of alchemy, which means they are asking you to endorse a methodological and epistemological practice that is bankrupt and which is no benefit in this debate. Our evidence indicates that another internal link to this argument is the Chandler evidence, which indicates that the narcissistic discussion did never talk about the interactions between states, and that always quest to posit yourself as an individual means that we always engage in research rather than research, which means that we never learn how to engage the world to create effective policies, which means that we link turn every single reason as to why the alternative would be able to spill over to something outside of this room. And because the debate does not leave the room, the only thing that matters is what kind of educational model is promoted, what model is best for education, and now I'll get to the positive defense of ours. The Dutch evidence that is read in the 1 ER indicates that the cultural explanation of security interactions is inaccurate because there's no research that can back any of these arguments. It has fundamentally failed to test and prove the assumptions of international relations, that the cases employing these cultural failures are just ideologically based and how you should default always to security studies and the assumptions made by our authors, because at least we tried. Now, he cannot get himself out of the grading a paper argument that he made in the 2NC. He's gone for this argument in one debate on this argument. We can see that you should try to grade the F and you should grade the F and A because we are the best attempt at scholarship. We have dis as to why their approach to knowledge production is bad, and we have pro-dites of why our relationship to knowledge production is good, which means that we are way ahead on this. Our Atlantis evidence also indicates that conflict studies and security studies are the most effective tool at teaching and producing the most informed students. If they are right about the K, you should still vote F because our simulation in this debate is the best way to learn that colonialism is wrong, because the argument about what they're saying is true can still be a reason to vote F, because the F created the possibility to engage in that debate in the first place, which is a defense of role-playing and the methodology that is used. The 2 and R does not have a single warrant about why their arguments are true. Not a single one, which means the scholarship they said can only go affirmative. Now I'll answer their arguments. The Dutch evidence that he makes, that argument he makes about imperialism doesn't answer our Steinberg evidence. It also doesn't answer our broader index of post-colonial studies as a whole. The intellectual arguments he made was answered above, and the arguments, and the severance argument is just a reason to reject the argument. He also didn't make a severance argument. The argument was just a test to test the compatibility between the two methodologies. This team has gotten away with murder all year long. If you don't understand the warrants to an argument until after the debate, you should vote affirmative. It is not your fault if you don't understand the to an R on critical issues of the debate. You should punish him not only for being blippy and unclear, but also for laying all of these landmines and us actually detonating to them. Reporting this behavior makes debate impossible. The to an R did a very poor job of defending the thesis and fundamental basis of their epistemology, which means that the only single productive pedagogical practice is to vote app because our scholarship was good. And yeah, extinction doesn't matter. It's not extinction, it's which one is right. They have no argument on why theirs is right. And even if theirs is right, the latest argument is a reason why we still saw it.
I already
methodology stuff. You do one that includes the indictments of their methodology and the offense and defensive orders.
Yeah.
I